If you're buying or selling real estate in Montana, or frankly, anywhere in the United States, this video could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today we're talking about one of the most devastating, least understood, and fastest growing crimes in real estate, and that's wire fraud during closings. I've personally seen buyers lose their entire life savings in a matter of minutes, not because they were careless, not because they were foolish, but because professional criminals are exploiting the real estate process in ways most people don't realize even are possible. This video is sponsored by Cypher's Family Real Estate, and the purpose today is simple: to explain how this fraud actually happens, who is most vulnerable, what happens legally when it occurs in Montana, and most importantly, how to protect yourself so this never happens to you. It's gut-wrenching for everybody involved. So please watch this all the way through. One misstep can cost everything. I mean everything. Let's dive into this exceedingly important topic. Let's start with what we're talking about. This is called real estate wire fraud. Sometimes it's referred to as business email compromise, BEC, closing wire fraud, escrow wire fraud. And here's the short version. A criminal impersonates someone involved in your transaction. Often it's the title company, and convinces the buyer to wire their closing funds to the wrong account. Once that wire is sent, the money is often gone within minutes, moved through multiple accounts, sometimes overseas, often almost impossible to recover. And here's the most terrifying part: everything can look completely legitimate. So let's break down how scammers do this, because understanding the process is the first line of defense. Step one, they monitor their transactions. Scammers target public records, MLS listings, social media, email traffic. They know who's buying, who's selling, which properties are under contract, when their closings are scheduled. And step two, they intercept the information. Now this can happen through compromised email accounts, malware, phishing attacks, weak passwords. Sometimes it's the buyer's email. Sometimes it's the lender's email, a title company's email, my email, or the agent's email. Sometimes no one ever knows exactly how access was gained. That is very true. Step three, they clone real documents. They steal closing statements, the settlement statements, the logos, email signatures, names, and phone numbers. The email you receive looks real. The numbers look right. The timing makes sense. And step four, they create urgency. You'll often see phrases like "due to last-minute changes" or "please wire immediately to avoid delays." Updated wiring instructions are attached. So this urgency is intentional. And this fear shuts down any kind of verification. Then we get to step five. The buyer wires the money. The buyer believes they're completing the transaction, but in reality, the title company never receives the funds. The closing doesn't legally occur, and the money is gone. Let's talk about who these scammers target most aggressively. One is the cash buyer. If you're wiring large sums of money, you are a prime target. Montana attracts investors, retirees, second home buyers. Out-of-state buyers rely heavily on email, which scammers love. Three, you got your first-time home buyers. If you never have wired funds before, you don't know what it feels, if something's a little off. 4 are busy professionals that are people who are juggling work, they're traveling, they're under time pressure. Scammers count on distraction. And 5 is anyone who trusts email alone. And this is really a big one. Email is not secure, ever. What happens legally in Montana? Well, this will surprise you. And I'm going to be very clear on this. In Montana, when a buyer wires money to a scammer, the buyer usually bears the loss. Even though they were tricked, the email looked real, the crime was sophisticated. Why? Well, because the buyer voluntarily authorized the wire. The scammer is not an agent of the title company. The title company did not receive the funds, and the bank followed instructions given by the buyer, unless someone else actually sent the wiring instructions or negligently caused the fraud. The loss stays with the buyer. And one more hard truth: title insurance almost never covers this. So in the worst cases, the buyer loses the money, the buyer does not get the property, the seller is not obligated to close, the buyer may have no recovery. It's financially devastating. Here are some red flags everyone should memorize. Wiring instructions sent or changed by email. That's a red flag. Pressure to wire money immediately. That's a red flag. Slightly different email addresses. In fact, I had a client a couple of weeks ago, got an email, checked the email address, it was off a little bit, and called the title company. They caught it. Another red flag are requests to keep the wire confidential. Don't tell anybody. Another red flag, any deviation from previously stated procedures is going to be another red flag. If something feels rushed, emotional, or secretive, stop immediately. This is the most important part of this video right here. Rule number 1, never trust wiring instructions sent by email, ever. Not once, not even if it looks perfect. Rule number 2 is always verified by phone. You want to call the title company. You want to use a phone number that you already have, not one that somebody gives you, for example, over email. And don't bet on anything that is in an email. Read the wiring instructions out loud and confirm them with the party on the other line. Rule number 3, assume every email could be fake. This mindset saves money. I know it sounds pretty paranoid, but it's something to keep in mind. Rule number 4 is ask about secure portals. So reputable title companies are going to have secure portals. They're going to have in-person verification. They're going to have pre-established wiring procedures. Rule number 5 is slow down. Scammers win on speed. A legitimate transaction can survive a verification phone call. You don't have to be in a rush. Rule number 6 is educate everyone involved in the transaction. Spouses, business partners, parents helping with funds. One uninformed person can undo everything. And if you suspect fraud, first of all, call your bank immediately. Second, request a wire recall. 3, file a report at ic.3.gov. That's your cybersecurity, generally handled by the FBI, and local law enforcement gets involved. We know this from a recent transaction we sadly had. Notify the title company. In the case we had, the title company called the client and said, "We haven't received your funds yet." They said, "Well, we sent them a couple of days ago." And then the whole thing unraveled from there. And you're going to, of course, contact your local law enforcement. Minutes matter in these cases. I'm sharing this because real estate should build wealth, not destroy it. At Cyphers Family Real Estate, we believe education is protection, not fear, not pressure, but real preparation. So if you're buying or selling property in Montana, ask questions, verify everything, and never assume it won't happen to me. Because unfortunately, that's exactly who scammers are looking for. So if this video helped you, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. You might just help someone save their life savings. I'm Craig Cyphers, and this is the Montana Real Estate Channel. Montana real estate done the right way, and Cyphers Family would like to be a resource for you if you're buying or selling real estate in Montana, and all the contact information is in the description below. We'll see you on the next video.